My girlfriend said, I donated your sperm without telling you. My friend couldn't afford a clinic. Congrats, you're a biodad. I responded calmly, that's illegal. Then I called a lawyer, filed charges, and contacted the friend with a cease and desist. When child services got involved and started investigating everyone involved, I, 31 male, was sitting on the couch last Tuesday when Madison, 29, came home looking weirdly excited. We'd been together for almost 2 years, living together for 6 months. She worked in HR, I'm a software developer. Normal couple stuff. She dropped her purse and sat down next to me with this huge smile. So I have some news. You know how Felicity's been struggling with wanting to have a baby but can't afford the fertility clinic prices? Felicity was her best friend from college. I'd met her maybe 5 times. Single, worked as a receptionist at some dental office, wanted to be a mom but didn't want to wait for a partner. Fair enough, her life. Yeah? I said, not sure where this was going. Well, I helped her out. Remember those samples you gave at the urologist last year when you were worried about that infection? My blood went cold. What about them? She was still smiling, like she'd done something amazing. I work in medical billing, so I have access to the lab system. I convinced the technician I knew to let me have one of your frozen samples, told her it was for us, for our future family planning. Then I gave it to Felicity. She did an at-home insemination last month, and it worked. She's pregnant. Congrats, you're going to be a biodad. I stared at her. My brain couldn't process what I was hearing. You? What? I helped Felicity get pregnant with your sperm. She couldn't afford the $15,000 for a clinic and donor sperm, so I figured since we're probably going to have kids together anyway, why not help her out? You've always said you wanted to help people. The room was spinning. Madison, that's my biological material. You can't just give that away. That's illegal. She rolled her eyes. Oh, don't be dramatic. It's just some cells. You aren't using it, and now Felicity gets to be a mom. Isn't that beautiful? No, I said, my voice way calmer than I felt. That's reproductive theft and fraud, and probably half a dozen other crimes. Crimes? She laughed. You're being ridiculous. It's a favor between friends. Nobody got hurt. I stood up, pulled out my phone, started recording. Madison, I need you to explain again, on camera, exactly what you did. Why are you recording me? Because what you just admitted to is multiple felonies, and I need documentation. Her face changed, first confusion, then anger. Are you serious right now? I did something nice. I helped my best friend become a mother. You should be honored. Honored that you stole my genetic material and used it without my consent? That you committed fraud to access medical records and samples? That you potentially made me legally responsible for a child I never agreed to father? You're overreacting. No, I'm calling a lawyer, right now. I walked into the bedroom and shut the door. My hands were shaking as I searched for a reproductive rights attorney in our area. Found one with good reviews, left a voicemail explaining the basics and asking for an emergency consultation. Then I called the urologist's office, explained what happened. The receptionist transferred me to their office manager, who transferred me to their legal department. Within 15 minutes, I had confirmed they were launching an internal investigation into how my sample was accessed and removed from storage. When I came back out, Madison was on the phone. I don't know, he's freaking out about it. Yeah, I told him, he's being such a jerk about this, Mom. I sat down and waited for her to finish. She hung up and glared at me. My mom thinks you're being selfish. Your mom doesn't understand the law. What you did is theft. And depending on how the friend used the sample, there could be additional charges. If she forged any documents claiming to be me or claiming I consented, that's fraud too. Oh my God, stop. You sound like such an asshole right now. Felicity is over the moon. She's finally going to have the baby she's always wanted. Why can't you just be happy for her? Because I didn't consent to fathering her child, Madison. Consent matters in everything. It's not like you have to raise it. She's not asking you for anything. That's not how it works legally. And even if it was, that's not the point. The point is you violated my bodily autonomy. You stole genetic material from me. You committed crimes to do it. She stood up, grabbed her keys. I can't deal with you right now. I'm going to Felicity's. Maybe you'll calm down by the time I get back. She left. I sat there for a long time, just processing. Then I made a list, called a criminal defense attorney my coworker had recommended once, left another voicemail, started documenting everything, the date I gave the sample, the date she told me, her exact words, the recording I'd made. The attorney called back that night. His name was Vincent, been practicing for 20 years. I explained everything. Holy hell, he said. Okay, first thing tomorrow, you need to file a police report. This is reproductive coercion, theft, fraud, probably HIPAA violations on the medical facility's part. Second, we need to get ahead of any potential paternity claims. Third, you need to decide if you want to pursue civil damages. What are we looking at here? For her? Criminal charges that could mean jail time. For you, you need protection from any future claims on that child. The fact that she's already born or will be born doesn't make this legal. You had no knowledge, no consent. We can establish that from the start. And my girlfriend? Ex-girlfriend, I'd recommend. She committed serious crimes, and she doesn't seem to understand that. Update 1. Filed the police report Wednesday morning. The detective's face, when I explained what happened, was something else. He said they'd seen reproductive coercion cases before. Women stealing condoms, men sabotaging birth control, but never quite like this. The medical facility angle makes this bigger, he said. That's federal stuff, potentially. HIPAA, medical records fraud, will need to coordinate with the DA's office. Madison came home that evening. I'd packed her stuff, had it in boxes by the door. What is this? She asked. You need to leave. Are you kidding me? You're kicking me out? You committed multiple felonies, Madison. Yes, I'm kicking you out. You need to find somewhere else to stay. I paid rent here. Your name's not on the lease. You paid me rent. Here's the prorated amount for the rest of the month. I handed her a check. Take your things and go. You called the cops? She was looking at her phone. Felicity just texted me. Detectives came to her work and questioned her. What the hell, Nathan? What did you think was going to happen? You stole medical samples and gave them away. That's a crime. It was a favor. It was theft. Her mom showed up 20 minutes later. Janet, mid-50s, worked as a paralegal. You'd think she'd understand the legal implications. You'd be wrong. Nathan, this is absurd, Janet said, barging in. Madison was trying to help someone. You're going to ruin her life over this? She ruined her own life by committing crimes. She didn't hurt anyone. She stole my genetic material. She violated my reproductive rights. She committed fraud to access medical records. Those are serious crimes, Janet. Nobody sees it that way. It's just a favor between friends. The police see it that way. The DA's office will see it that way. And honestly, I don't care how you see it. Madison was crying now. I can't believe you're doing this. I thought you loved me. I did, before you proved you don't understand consent or basic legal boundaries. What about Felicity's baby? You're going to ruin her life too? Felicity participated in fraud. She used stolen genetic material. If she signed any documents claiming I consented, that's more fraud. She made her choices. Janet pointed at me. You're a cold, heartless bastard. That baby is innocent. The baby is also not my responsibility. I never agreed to father it. When this goes to court, that'll be established. When this goes to court? Madison's voice went shrill. You're suing us? My lawyer's drawing up a cease and desist for Felicity. She's not to contact me, not to list me on any birth certificates, not to make any claims of paternity. If she violates that, yes, there will be a civil suit. The criminal charges are already filed. My phone rang. Vincent, I answered. Nathan, just got word from my contact at the DA's office. They're taking this seriously. Probable cause for multiple charges. They want to interview you tomorrow. Understood. Madison was staring at me. Who was that? My attorney. You actually hired a lawyer? For this? For multiple felonies, yes. Janet grabbed Madison's arm. Come on, honey. We're leaving. Let him rot in his self-righteousness. They loaded up her boxes. Before leaving, Madison turned back. Felicity's baby deserves a father. You're going to regret abandoning your own child. It's not my child. I never consented to create it. And that'll be legally established. They left. I locked the door and sat down. My hands were still shaking. The next few days were a blur. Gave my statement to detectives, provided all documentation. The urologist's office confirmed the sample was accessed improperly, that Madison had used her medical billing credentials to gain access to the lab system, that she'd convinced a technician it was for our personal use. The technician was fired. The facility's legal team contacted me. They'd be cooperating fully with the investigation and had already implemented new security protocols. Friday afternoon, Felicity called from a blocked number. I let it go to voicemail. "Nathan, it's Felicity. Please, I'm so sorry. I didn't know Madison didn't have your permission. She told me you'd agreed to help me out. She said you guys had talked about it and you were fine being a donor. Please don't press charges. I'm 8 weeks pregnant. I can't lose this baby. Please." I forwarded it to Vincent. "That's good," he said. "She's admitting she knew where the sample came from. Shows knowledge. Might help establish intent." What happens now? DA decides on charges. Could be anywhere from theft to fraud to reproductive coercion. Depends on how aggressive they want to be. The medical facility angle makes it federal potentially. And Felicity's involvement, if she knew the source and participated anyway, she's liable too. What about the baby? That's complicated. You have no parental rights and no parental obligations if this is handled correctly. The baby was conceived without your consent using stolen genetic material. Courts have handled similar cases before. You're not legally the father. And if Felicity tries to claim I am, then we go to court and establish the facts. You have documentation, recordings, police reports. You'll be fine. Update 2. The DA filed charges 2 weeks later. Madison, felony theft, fraud, computer crimes, accessing medical records, HIPAA violations. Felicity, conspiracy to commit fraud, receiving stolen property. Madison's lawyer sent a letter saying the charges were excessive and vindictive, and that I was weaponizing the legal system against a woman who was just trying to help a friend. Vincent's response letter was beautiful. Outlined every crime, every statute, cited case law about reproductive rights and consent. Ended with, "Your client committed serious felonies. Mr. Reeves is entitled to pursue all legal remedies." Then the social worker showed up. She knocked on my door on a Thursday evening, showed her ID, Child Protective Services. "Mr. Reeves, I'm Darlene from CPS. We need to talk about the baby that's going to be born in about 7 months." I let her in, offered coffee. She declined. "I've read the police reports," she said. "This is unprecedented in my career, but we need to establish the child's welfare situation. Miss Felicity Nguyen is claiming you're the biological father and that you've abandoned your child. I'm not the father, not legally. The sample was stolen. I never consented. I understand that's your position. But biologically, if this baby is born and tests show you're the genetic father, there are welfare considerations, which should be addressed to the person who stole my genetic material and the person who used it knowing it was stolen. That's not how CPS works, Mr. Reeves. We're concerned with the child's well-being. And I'm concerned with the violation of my reproductive rights. I have no obligation to this child. I never agreed to father it." She made notes. "Have you considered that once this child is born, they might want to know their biological father? That child can know their biological father was the victim of a crime, that their mother participated in fraud, that none of this was consensual. You seem very detached from this situation." "Because I am. This child is not mine in any meaningful way. It's the product of theft. The court will decide that. Yes, it will, and I have extensive documentation proving I never consented to any of this." She left after an hour of questioning. Vincent said it was standard procedure but irritating. "They're trying to establish if you're going to be a resource for the child," he explained. "Answer honestly. Stick to facts. Don't let them guilt you." Madison's mom sent me a Facebook message. "You're gonna burn in hell for what you're doing to that innocent baby. Felicity is struggling financially and emotionally, and you're making it worse. Be a man and take responsibility." I screenshot it and sent it to Vincent. More evidence of harassment. 2 days later, Felicity's lawyer sent a demand letter. She wanted $2,500 a month in child support starting immediately, medical expenses, and a guarantee I'd be listed on the birth certificate. Vincent laughed when he read it. "She's delusional. Let me handle this." His response was brutal. "Your client participated in fraud to acquire stolen genetic material. She has no legal claim to anything from Mr. Reeves. Any further harassment will result in additional civil action. Your client should be more concerned with the criminal charges she's facing." Then Madison showed up at my work. Security called me down to the lobby. She was there with Felicity, who was showing now. "Look at her," Madison screamed. "Look at what you're doing. She's pregnant with your baby, and you're acting like she doesn't exist." "You need to leave," I said calmly. "You're both under orders not to contact me." "That baby needs a father," Felicity was crying. "I can't do this alone. I can't afford this alone. You should have thought about that before you participated in fraud." "I didn't know. Madison said you agreed." "That's your problem. You believed a thief." Security escorted them out, filed another police report for violating the no-contact order. Vincent said it would help our case. The preliminary hearing was set for 6 weeks out. Vincent explained it would be a long process. Criminal trials take time. Civil issues would be separate. "What's your best-case scenario?" I asked. "Criminal convictions for both of them. Clear establishment that you have no parental rights or obligations. Civil settlement for your legal fees and emotional distress. Restraining order that holds up. Worst case, they plead down to lesser charges. You still get your parental rights clarified, but they do less time. Felicity raises the kid on her own. You're free, but it's messy. I can live with messy as long as I'm free." Madison's parents tried to approach me at a coffee shop. I got up and left. They followed me to my car. "Please," Janet said. "Madison's looking at jail time. Real jail. She made a mistake. Can't you just drop this?" "No. She's my daughter. She's a criminal. She violated my most basic rights. I don't care that she's your daughter." "What about Felicity's baby?" "Not my problem. Not my responsibility. Not my child." "You're a monster," her dad said. It was the first time I'd heard him speak. A real man would step up. A real man respects consent and personal boundaries. Your daughter doesn't. That's why she's facing charges. I drove away, blocked both of them on everything. Final update. The trial took 4 months. Madison pleaded guilty to reduced charges, felony theft, misuse of medical records. Got 2 years probation, $5,000 fine, community service. Could have been prison time, but her lawyer worked a deal. Felicity pleaded guilty to conspiracy, receiving stolen property. 18 months probation, $3,000 fine. Both have felony records now. The civil case settled. They paid my legal fees, $18,000 split between them. Also signed documents permanently waiving any claims of paternity, child support, or involvement from me. The baby was born 3 months ago. Girl. I know because the final court order mentions it. I'm legally not the father. Not on the birth certificate. No rights, no obligations. The judge's order specifically states the conception was non-consensual and criminal in nature. Felicity's parents are apparently helping her raise the kid. She lost her job when the criminal charges became public. Madison's still living with her parents, working temp jobs. No one will hire her with the felony on her record. My mom thinks I was too harsh. That baby didn't do anything wrong, she keeps saying. Neither did I remind her. I was the victim of a crime. Lost some friends over this. People who think I should step up or be the bigger person. Apparently, my boundaries and consent don't matter as much as a baby that wouldn't exist if not for crimes committed against me. My therapist says I'm handling it well, considering. Says most people couldn't process this level of violation. The nightmares are getting better. The ones where I wake up panicking about legal papers or child support claims. Dating's off the table for a while. Hard to trust anyone after someone you loved used your body against you. That's what it was. She used my body, my genetic material, without permission. Violated me in one of the most fundamental ways possible. Vincent says if Felicity ever tries to contact me or make any claims, we go straight back to court. The settlement agreement is ironclad. She signed away any rights to involve me. If she violates it, she pays penalties and potentially more jail time. Sometimes I wonder about the kid. Not because I feel paternal, I don't. But because she's going to grow up eventually and find out how she was conceived. That her existence started with her mother participating in a crime. That her biological father wanted nothing to do with her because he never consented to creating her. That's sad. But it's not my responsibility to fix it. I didn't create that situation. Madison and Felicity did. I sold my place last month, moved across the state. New job, new apartment, new everything. Can't risk running into them accidentally. Can't risk Felicity deciding a few years from now that she wants me involved after all. My new therapist says that's understandable, that I'm allowed to protect myself, that I'm allowed to enforce my boundaries even when other people think I'm wrong. The whole thing still feels surreal sometimes, like it happened to someone else. But then I see the court documents, the settlement agreement, the restraining order. All very real. All proof that two people I trusted committed crimes against me and thought they were doing something good. Madison sent a letter last week. Not to me, she knows better, but to my lawyer who forwarded it, said she understands now what she did was wrong, that she's in therapy, that she hopes someday I can forgive her. I won't. Forgiveness is for people who make mistakes. What she did wasn't a mistake. It was deliberate, calculated theft of my genetic material for someone else's benefit. She chose her friends' wants over my fundamental rights. That's not a mistake, that's who she is. And I'm glad I found out before we had kids together, before I married her, before I tied my life to someone who doesn't understand consent. The legal stuff is over, the emotional stuff will take longer. But I'm free. No child support, no custody battles, no ties to people who violated me. That's the win. Not a happy ending, not closure, just freedom. And some days that's enough. My girlfriend said, I'm going to my ex's wedding as his +1 to show there's no hard feelings. I replied, have fun. Then I changed my relationship status and went on a date with her maid of honor. When she returned, my apartment was empty, except for a note that said, original post I, 32 male, should have seen this coming when Monica, 29, casually mentioned over breakfast that her ex Trevor was getting married. We'd been together 3 years, living in my apartment for the last 18 months. That's nice, I said, focused on my scrambled eggs. Yeah, about that. She twirled her hair, that nervous habit I used to find cute. He actually invited me, as his +1. I looked up. His +1? To his own wedding? Not like that. God, Derek, don't be dense. His fiance's family is super conservative. They think it's weird he doesn't have more friends, so he asked if I'd come to show there's no hard feelings between us. You know, prove he's a normal guy with normal friendships. And you said? I said yes. It's the mature thing to do. Shows we've all moved on. The coffee tasted bitter suddenly. You're going to your ex's wedding, as his date, to prove you've moved on. Monica rolled her eyes. You're making it sound worse than it is. It's literally just sitting through a ceremony and eating some chicken marsala. I'll be back Sunday night. The wedding's out of town? Phoenix. Trevor's covering the flight and hotel. Separate rooms, obviously. I set down my mug carefully. Let me get this straight. You're flying to Phoenix, staying in a hotel your ex is paying for, to be his +1 at his wedding, and you think this is normal? Derek, stop being insecure. It's not attractive. I'm doing him a favor as a friend. That's what mature people do. The entitlement in her voice, like I was the unreasonable one. Okay, I said. Have fun. She blinked. Really? You're okay with it? You already said yes, right? What's there to discuss? That Thursday, she packed her weekend bag, kissed me goodbye, and left for the airport. I watched from the window as her Uber pulled away. Then, I got to work. Update 1. First thing I did was change my relationship status on social media. Single. Within 10 minutes, my phone started buzzing. Ignored it all. Second thing, I texted Heather. For context, Heather was Monica's maid of honor from her sister's wedding last year. We'd hit it off at the rehearsal dinner, bonding over Monica's tendency to make everything about herself. Nothing inappropriate happened, but there was definitely a vibe. She'd mentioned once, after a few drinks, that Monica had interesting priorities. Hey, weird question? Did Monica tell you about this weekend? The Trevor thing? Girl, that's wild. Can't believe she actually went. Want to grab coffee? I could use a reality check. Heather, wine would be better. Vin Rosa at 7. That evening, Heather showed up looking professionally annoyed. I told her it was disrespectful, she said before even sitting down. She laughed and said you were too secure to care about silly things. She what now? Oh yeah, she's been telling everyone you're totally fine with it. Super supportive. The perfect modern boyfriend who isn't threatened by friendship. I showed her my phone. 17 missed calls from Monica. Probably saw the relationship status change. Heather leaned back. You know what? Good for you. She's been walking all over you for years. Years? Derek, sweetie? Remember her birthday party? You paid for everything while she invited Trevor? The vacation you planned that she canceled last minute to help Trevor move? The promotion dinner you missed because she had to console Trevor about his breakup? The pattern I'd been ignoring slapped me in the face. I'm an idiot. No, you're nice. She takes advantage of nice. We talked until the restaurant closed. Nothing physical happened. I'm not that guy. But Heather mentioned she'd been planning to skip her cousin's thing Saturday night. Maybe she'd reconsider if I was free. Friday morning, I rented a U-Haul. Monica's stuff wasn't that much, really. Clothes, makeup collection, her Peloton she used twice, the coffee maker she insisted we needed that cost $400, the artwork she bought with my credit card, the throw pillows that cost more than my monthly grocery budget. I packed everything carefully, labeled the boxes with a Sharpie. Monica. Clothes. Monica. Bathroom. Monica. Miscellaneous. Drove it all to her sister Diane's place. Diane opened the door looking confused. Derek, what's all this? Monica's things. She'll need them when she gets back Sunday. Why would she? Wait, what? She didn't tell you? She's at her ex Trevor's wedding, as his plus one. I figured she'd want her stuff somewhere safe since she won't be living with me anymore. Diane's mouth opened and closed like a fish. She said she was at a work conference. Nope, Phoenix, Trevor's wedding. Check her Instagram. I left Diane standing there surrounded by boxes, already pulling out her phone. Saturday night, I met Heather for dinner. Actual dinner, not a date. We were both clear on that. But we did take a selfie that happened to show up on my Instagram story. 2 adults having dinner. Nothing scandalous. My phone exploded. What the hell is this? Are you on a date? With Heather? Derek, answer your phone right now. This is so immature. I can't believe you'd do this to get back at me. It's not the same thing. I didn't respond. She made her choice. Sunday afternoon, I was sitting in my beautifully empty apartment when the door burst open. Monica stood there, mascara smeared, hair a mess. Where is everything? Where's my stuff? At Diane's. You moved my stuff to my sister's. You moved yourself to your ex's wedding. Seemed like we were both making changes. She stomped into the bedroom, saw her side of the closet empty, and let out this weird shriek. You can't do this. I live here. Lived. Past tense. Because I went to a wedding? Are you that insecure? No, because you thought it was appropriate to be another man's date while in a relationship. Because you lied to your family about where you were. Because you've apparently been prioritizing Trevor our entire relationship. That's not. You're twisting everything. Trevor just posted wedding photos. You're in 17 of them. You caught the bouquet. Her face went red. That was an accident. You're literally reaching for it in the video. Derek, please. Let's talk about this. I love you. Cool, I love the person I thought you were, the one who respected our relationship. I cannot believe you'd humiliate me like this, dating my friend. I had dinner with Heather. Once, you flew across state lines to be another man's date. See the difference? Update 2: the meltdown that followed was spectacular. Monica called her mom, Barbara. Barbara called me 20 minutes later. Derek, honey, Monica's hysterical. What happened? She went to her ex-boyfriend's wedding as his plus one, so I ended the relationship. She said it was just as friends. Barbara, if I flew to my ex-girlfriend's wedding as her date, would Monica be okay with that? Silence. That's what I thought. Next came the flying monkeys. Monica's friends started texting about how I was overreacting and punishing her for being a good friend. I responded to exactly one. She told her family she was at a work conference. If it was innocent, why lie? That shut them up. But Monica wasn't done. Monday morning, she showed up at my office. Security stopped her in the lobby. Thank God for key cards, but she made enough of a scene that my manager heard about it. Personal issue? Stan asked. Ex-girlfriend. She's having trouble with the ex part. Need help? Already handled. She's trespassed from the building now. Tuesday brought the financial entitlement. Monica, you owe me for half the rent for this month. Monica, I paid for groceries last week. My Peloton is worth $2,000. That's $375 total. I expect payment by Friday. I sent back one text. Me. The Peloton you bought with my credit card, the groceries that cost $73, the rent you haven't paid in 6 months. See small claims court. She tried a different approach Wednesday, had Trevor text me. Hey man, Monica's really upset. This is my fault. The wedding thing was innocent, I promise. Can you guys talk? The guy who convinced my girlfriend to be his wedding date wants me to take her back? That's rich. She's crashing at my place and crying constantly. It's affecting my marriage. Sounds like a you problem. Maybe don't invite other women to be your date to your own wedding? She said you were cool with it. And you believe that? How's your new wife feeling about Monica staying with you? He stopped responding, but Monica didn't. Thursday morning, new approach. I made a mistake, I see that now. But throwing away 3 years over one weekend is crazy. Come to couples counseling with me. No. You owe me that much. I owe you nothing. I'll kill myself if you don't take me back. I screenshot that one and called 911 for a wellness check at Trevor's address. The cops showed up while Trevor's new wife was home. Monica was fine, just manipulative. Trevor's marriage, however, was not fine after his bride learned Monica was staying there. By Thursday night, Monica was at Diane's where all her stuff was. Diane was furious at Monica, not me. Sent me a text. Diane, I'm sorry for my sister. She's always been like this. Dad enabled it. You deserve better. Friday morning, Monica tried one more time. Showed up at my apartment at 6 a.m., pounding on the door. I know you're in there. We need to talk. I called the cops. She got a warning for disturbing the peace. That afternoon, she posted on social media a long, rambling thing about how some people can't handle confident women with male friends, and how jealousy destroys relationships, and how she was healing from toxic masculinity. Heather screenshot it and sent it to me with laughing emojis. Then commented publicly, confident women don't lie to their families about attending their ex's wedding as his date. Healing from toxic behavior means acknowledging your own. The post got deleted within an hour. Update 3. The extinction burst hit different than expected. Saturday, a week after the wedding, I get a call from my landlord, George. Great guy, owns the building, we grab beers sometimes. Derek, got a weird situation. Lady came by saying she's your girlfriend. Lost her key, needs me to let her into your unit. Ex-girlfriend, we broke up last week, she doesn't live here anymore. Figured as much when she couldn't tell me how long you'd been a tenant. Told her to pound sand, just wanted you to know. Thanks, George, I'll handle it. But Monica wasn't done playing games. Sunday, she pulled the nuclear option. My parents called, both of them on speaker. Mom, Derek, Monica just left. She was crying about wedding gifts? What wedding gifts, Dad? She said you two were secretly engaged and she needs the ring back to pay for canceling wedding vendors? I actually laughed. We were never engaged. I never proposed. There's no ring. Mom, she showed us a receipt for a 3-carat diamond from Worthington's. Send me a picture of it. They did. It was obviously fake. Comic Sans font for one thing. The store name was wrong. The total was $47,000, which, no. Mom, that's faker than Monica's concern for our relationship. She's lying. Figured as much. Your mother wanted to be sure. Girl seems unstable, son. Working on a restraining order. Monday brought the work drama. Monica called my company's HR department. Claimed I was harassing her. That I'd stolen property. That I was creating a hostile work environment for her at a company where she doesn't work. HR called me in, looking exhausted already. Mr. Garrison, Shirley from HR said, we received a complaint from a Monica Fernandez? My ex-girlfriend, who I haven't contacted since we broke up 9 days ago? She claims you worked together? She's never worked here. I have documentation of her harassment if you need it. Shirley rubbed her temples. Please. I showed her everything. The texts, the wellness check report, the trespassing warning from building security, the fake engagement receipt, the police warning for disturbing the peace. I'll handle this, Shirley said. We'll be sending her a cease and desist about contacting our company. Tuesday was quiet. Too quiet. Wednesday, I found out why. Heather called, you need to see this. Monica had started a GoFundMe, help me escape my abusive ex. The story she wrote was fiction. According to her, I'd isolated her from friends, controlled her finances, and thrown her out for attending a family wedding. She needed $5,000 to start over safely. It had raised $300. I contacted GoFundMe with my documentation. The page was down within 2 hours. But the best part? Trevor's wife donated $5 with a comment, "Maybe don't stay with my husband after being his wedding date." Trevor was apparently sleeping in his car now. Thursday, Monica made her final mistake. She used the spare key she'd secretly made. Except I'd installed a camera after the first incident. Got a crystal clear video of her entering at 2 p.m. while I was at work. She didn't steal anything. No, she did something weirder. She rearranged everything. Furniture moved slightly. Pictures rehung at different angles. Books reorganized. Probably thought she'd make me think I was going crazy. Except she didn't know about the camera. I called the cops immediately. Showed them the footage. She was arrested at Diane's house for breaking and entering. Diane called me. "I'm done with her. Bail her out? She can figure it out herself. Mom and Dad are done too after the fake engagement stunt." Monica spent 2 nights in jail before Trevor bailed her out. His wife promptly filed for divorce after less than 2 weeks of marriage. Final update. It's been 2 months now. The restraining order was approved. 2 years, no contact. Monica had to plead down to misdemeanor trespassing and got 6 months probation plus community service. Last I heard through the grapevine, she's living with her parents in Tucson. Trevor's divorce was finalized in record time. She lost most of her friend group after the truth came out. Diane still won't talk to her. She's working at a call center. The satisfaction isn't from revenge, it's from the clarity. 3 years I spent with someone who saw me as an accessory to fund her life while she prioritized her ex. 3 years of being gaslit into thinking I was insecure for having normal boundaries. The apartment feels different now. Lighter. I repainted the walls, got rid of that agreeable gray she insisted on. Put up my movie posters, she said, were juvenile. Bought a coffee maker that just makes coffee, not 17 varieties of artisanal whatever. Heather and I aren't dating. We both agreed that would be weird timing. But we're friends, real friends. She introduced me to her cousin Lisa. We've been on 3 dates. She thinks the whole Monica story is wild but validating. She's never asked me to skip work to help her ex move. The note? The one I left when Monica came back to an empty apartment? It simply said, "You were right. This is what mature people do. They move on." She kept it apparently. Diane found it in Monica's stuff when she finally came to get her boxes last week. Said Monica had scribbled all over it with red pen, writing things like immature and manipulative. And small dick energy. Diane took a picture and sent it to me with crying laughing emojis. We're still cool. Last week I got a notification. Monica tried to connect on LinkedIn. The message said, "Hope you're well. I've grown a lot. Coffee sometime?" Screenshot it for the restraining order file and blocked her there too. Some people never learn. They just find new platforms to be entitled on. But that's not my problem anymore. My only problem now is deciding whether to paint the bedroom navy or forest green. Lisa likes green. Green it is.